Welcome to Generator, your view into the ever-evolving and vibrant art scene in Ireland today. On this, the last show of the season, we have the sixth and final artist from the Generator Group exhibition, Laura De Burca. We chat about her grandfather's apple orchard and its current influence on her work. We profile Market Studios, where Deirdre Morrissey and Claire Bean talk to us about setting up their space as a not-for-profit company and their connection with the surrounding community. Firstly, we join musician and artist Matt Hedigan at his first exhibition, 100 Portraits of Varying Degrees of Success, where we conversed about the challenges of setting up his first exhibition and the crossover between art and music.
My name's Matt Hedigan. I'm part of the A4 Sounds committee, and we're doing a fundraiser here on the 28th of my solo work. But we're a collective and we work together and work with other people. But yeah, this is my first kind of exhibition outside of college, but it's probably a bit more of what I wanted to do rather than what I had to do in college. But it's not very intellectualized or anything. It's just basically people sent in pictures of themselves and I'm just doodling away, and some of them are kind of highly finished and some of them are just like with a marker and done in like 30 seconds. So hopefully it'll be a kind of fun and like not too, chin strokingly boring. But sure, we'll see anyway. But and we've got music as well on the night. Rory Francis O'Brien with James Fortune, kind of creepy-ish folk, kind of somber. Onzi from Dublin, who's been doing really well lately, and delighted he could do it. And Katie Kim playing solo, which is amazing. And I was really surprised that I got that. That's the only three bands I wanted to do it, and all of them said yes pretty much straight away, which was very heartening. And no one really wants to see what I'm doing anyway. It's more that they're coming to see the music, which is totally grand as long as we make some money out of it and pay off our bills. And yeah, that's the other thing. We're looking to get money to kind of settle up with our landlord before they make this place into apartments, and then we're on the hunt for somewhere new, and we're still going to be A4 Sounds, just somewhere else, and hopefully we can, advance, get to do more than we did here, and kind of get more people involved and get more involved in whatever community we happen to be in when we move off. It's probably more stressful than I thought it would be, but yeah, I'm not even finished yet, and it's on tomorrow, so that's probably a good good sign, or it'll give you an idea about how unprepared I am. But it wouldn't be me otherwise, unless I was all over the place and underprepared. But sure, so we'll see what happens. It should be fun anyway.
So did everyone enjoy their long photographs being taken, or drawings, or whatever you call them? It takes a little bit longer, although you were saying it took like 2 seconds to do something. Or not 2, 12.
12 and 13, yes.
Burning white dove
my heart from my chest. There should be a song for you, but I don't have the tongue, I don't have the mind to describe. You're burning white, your pale light. Burning white dove, pull my heart from my chest.
I guess art and music are pretty closely related. I mean, you know, like for example, tomorrow, like very often, if you had this kind of thing, like like a small art exhibition, you know, you'd more than likely have some sort of music. Well, I know that's the kind of one it's the kind of exhibition I would favour, like, you know, and it's just think, you know, if you're like and like with bands and stuff, you know, obviously like album artwork and posters is a huge thing, like, and like usually I think in a lot of respects music is often accompanied by art and vice versa, and they're kind of pals.
Thanks.
In college, it was the only thing that I did all right in, like, was Life Drawn. I had major problems with because I don't really paint. I like lines and I like scribbling, you know, but that doesn't go down well in a fine art college. That's illustration or whatever. But I don't know, like I wasn't really able to deal with the kind of everything having to be really profound, you know. Everything you did had to have a really kind of profound meaning behind it, or like just if I said to my tutor, I just, like, if they asked me why I did this or whatever, you know, I would say, you know, I had this basic idea, like a reason for doing it, and then I just then obviously aesthetics comes into it, and they were like, nah, gotta have a big fucking essay on why you do everything, and I just don't have that in me, like, you know. I just work away and hopefully things kind of come together. I don't really think about it in any other way other than that, you know. Like because I really hated the idea that you had to be real smart to be into art, you know, like, and I'm not saying that they made me feel stupid, but like I did feel like a bit like I can't do this, because I don't know how to waffle about, you know, like a smudge on a huge canvas and be able to say that or be able to say in a convincing way that it's about world poverty or something. I just can't do that, like, you know. But I wouldn't want to anyway, you know.
I'm Deirdre Morrissey and this is Claire Behan and we run the Market Studios. We're up and running now 5 years, nearly 6. We started we opened officially as the Market Studios in January 2008.
Yeah, it was kind of like we were looking for studios ourselves. We just finished a master's course and there was 8 of us looking for studios, and we just thought, well, we'd kind of shared spaces before in the past. So it kind of evolved into the idea of setting up a gallery. We'd both finished the master's in art curation. So it seemed like a logical thing to do, that to set up also a gallery space attached so that we could have a space to put on the shows that we were curating.
Yeah, I suppose when we initially started, we only occupied half the building. We had a much smaller kind of studio group. And then about 6 months in, I suppose, we took over the back space. So it was all together at the moment, including ourselves, there are 15 artists here. That's with all the studios full. And then the gallery space, we generally have exhibitions. Well, actually, we've had quite a lot this year. We generally have them about every 2 months, would it be?
Yeah.
More or less, yeah. And myself and Claire, sort of at the start, would have curated most of the exhibitions, because we were kind of, as I said, we set up the gallery space because we wanted a space that we could develop our own practice as curators. But then, it's probably in the last kind of 12 months, we've been really giving the gallery over to to guest curators, so people can kind of come in and use the space. So how the studios works is that obviously the artists pay us the studio rent, and then what we make from that, then we go to pay our landlord. And we're set up as a not-for-profit company, so it means that any profit the company does make goes back into sustaining the studios or sustaining the gallery. Because we are set up as a not-for-profit company, we do have a board of directors. So our board is made up of kind of arts professionals, and they would kind of oversee the legal end of the company. So we have to present to the board any kind of decisions that we make, or any, to make sure that the company's solvent, basically.
I suppose sometimes when you think about setting up spaces like this, because as I said, there's all the money that's generated just goes towards sustaining the space. So that means paying the landlord the money. So everything, like the grants that we apply for, everything is about either trying to maintain the building, the structure, put on a program of interesting work enough, kind of find a way to either pay or at least support the practice of the artist. But I often think that even when art spaces move into areas like this, it's a lot about the gentrification of the space. It's a lot about, like, if you think about how Temple Bar started off, it was originally an old bus shelter, and the artists moved in there, and it's become the kind of mess that it is now.
I first came to the Market Studios in about 2008, and I was looking for a studio as an artist, and came here and rented a studio turned out to be about 2 years. And in that time I did 2 shows here where I was able to develop my practice, and I completely expanded my practice here from painting into performance and installation sculpture. And then I recently came back to the Market Studios, having encountered Deirdre Morrissey again, the co-director of the space. I'd been living abroad for the past 2 years, and she had seen some of my work online and invited me to come back and do a residency here for 1 month and to present a solo exhibition at the end of it, which turned out to be more of a project and a working space for the next 7 days. all of the works in this space are related to each other in the sense that they are fragments of a whole. They can be reconfigured and reassembled throughout the next 7 days. They're combinations of materials that all become activated by myself and participants. Some of them contain sensors or noisemakers and objects, and are assembled in various forms as the week goes on. In effect, they all become performances that are both done by myself but influenced by my participants.
But actually being in this area, because it's in the markets, is actually really nice. Like, it's really, really busy and really vibrant in the mornings. But then all the markets close off at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so then it's just really, really quiet. So it is an interesting space to be in.
Yeah.
It's an interesting part of Dublin.
This is all due for redevelopment of the markets. We're going to move, and in some ways that's a brilliant thing, because they were going to get, like, if you ever see traffic here in the morning time, like, there's a school directly across the road and no one can get in or out.
Huge articulated lorries trying to take the corner.
Yeah, but there's something about that that's wonderful, and that's part of the city. And like, if you're ever here at 6 o'clock in the morning, they're like, and you're looking out the window and they're like little doozers, you know, in Fraggle Rock.
Yeah.
You know, they're in there. So I think it's important to kind of retain things like that in the city, and even the fruit market, you know, and the fish market. There's so much history in this area. Like, actually, this area is like there's no infrastructure. There's nothing really put into it for the communities around here, but yet they have such a sense of community. The residents here, you know, like, that was something that we wanted as well, to not be this kind of plop studio that you could put anywhere and it would still exist. We kind of wanted to be embedded. That's why even we called it the Market Studios, you know. Like, we've run a couple of projects with the school across the road, and the Hacienda is possibly the most wonderful pub in Dublin. You know, there's so much in the area.
visual artist. I'm based in Dublin. I do a lot of illustration around loads of different things, but that's my favourite thing. I studied textiles, which is screen printing, which is my first love, but I'm just trying to get back to drawing now because it's the most satisfaction I get is from drawing. Yeah, well, I'm working on a book based on my father's apple orchard. They called it the apple garden where he grew up in Galway. It was on a farmhouse, and my papa, his dad, used to win prizes for his apples in the local agricultural fair, which was amazing. I looked at the records and there was all different categories like ornamental butter displays, best sheaf of barley, all these amazing kind of, they just sound so whimsical, but my papa used to win prizes for his apples, so I went to St. June Birkin dessert apple because they were so good. It was a very vast orchard, and it was kind of destroyed in 1963 by Hurricane Debbie, so it was just made horizontal. And after that, most of them died, but some of them were so old because they were there for generations before he enjoyed the orchard that they still bore fruit even though they were horizontal. And he said they were the sweetest apples he ever tasted. But it's just so kind of magical when he used to tell me about it. It just sounded so magical, so I wanted to document it. So I went and interviewed all 7 of his siblings and did little audio kind of recordings, and it's lots of little anecdotal stories around what they used to play in the bird's nests and things. So I wanted to kind of illustrate it in a kind of, it's kind of like a historical document really, because those kind of places are gone, and also the orchard itself is gone, so it's more like memories of the orchard. So I was trying to get a feel of hazy mistiness, because it's obviously physically not there anymore. But when you start researching into something you think is quite specific, like Irish apples, you just discover that it's huge, and there's so much information on them. And the names, particularly of the apples, were so beautiful. With the beauty of Bath. I have some here. Rusty Goats, Cavan Cabbage Stalk, Foxy Whelp. I don't know how they made them up, but they just sound so medieval. There's one called Bloody Butcher as well. A lot of them were from Armagh and things, but there was just the variety was huge. There's hundreds and hundreds. I think there's over 700 varieties in this historical apple collection in UCD. It's amazing. I'd just live there if I could. Oh yeah, I illustrated 2 books for children in Irish that my friend Clive from Genka wrote, and they were 2003 and 2006, I think. The first one was called Patchyorga. It was about a little bird, Padder, who it's like a coming of age story with the bird. But the second one was about a cat, so I kind of like drawing on. I'm more into nature than, or imaginary things rather than realistic. Even though the orchard is something that I prefer that kind of imaginary world to kind of, that inspires me a bit more than figurative drawing, realistic things. I could do it if I wanted to, but it doesn't hold the same appeal. Easy way to get a screen printing effect, because I like the kind of flatness of screen printing that you get with mixed with drawing, but stencils are amazing. So I think that's how I got into cutting out paper stencils, and I just started using the bits that were left behind after the stencils were cut and tried making things with them, because I barely tried anything. And spray paints I just like the instant gratification of instant colour. So I could never do oil painting or something that takes that long, glazes. I'm more of I think it comes from studying screen printing, because once you do the work and you have your screen exposed, you can just instantly create a piece which is quite addictive and it stays with you. So that's really probably informed where I work, because I've always loved stenciling, which is going around, well, it's essentially stenciling. entertaining me. Paper is just such a lovely material to work with because it creates a shadow and it's bendable. And I'm not very good at 3D, but I'm kind of cheap at doing 2D folded. So it's kind of like a little bit of origami, yes, but real origami doesn't get cut at all. Not supposed to cut it. But yeah, I like briefs. I like having a kind of idea, a theme, and kind of. Because I studied design, I suppose it was all about getting brief, and that stayed with me. So I like to have kind of story to work around, like the apple orchard, because it just gives you legs and brings the work on, I think. I love that. I do a lot of digital work, yeah, that's true. I love Photoshop. I suppose it's the instant thing as well in Photoshop. I designed a lot of silk prints and I sold them for a long time in tiny markets and in an Irish design shop. And they were basically, that's kind of one of them. That's nearly one of them. I would just use silhouettes and things and they turned out looking like screen prints, I suppose. I made them look, because that's the aesthetic I really like. And then I got so into Photoshop, I was doing design stuff for different bands and covers, and I love doing posters. All that, I love having a word and then a band, and you just listen to a song, get an idea, and then think of an image. It's just a lovely clean way to work. And it's just kind of one-off things are just really nice. And well, I love music, so that helps if you really like the tunes. If you didn't like, you do really crap about it. No. Yeah, a lot of digital stuff, but I kind of trying to get back to drawing because it's so much more. You get lost in it, the time just is gone, and I don't really get that with anything else.